What's up, my precious little pack, and welcome back to VEGA Conflict. So, I have a few thoughts and ideas on the Deadlock event, and I'm gonna also show off what I've been doing to earn points, as well as what the base defense looks like. But I'll start off with the attacks and the defense, and more or less let it run from there. And the fleet I'm going to be using is my cruiser fleet, because they actually do the job fairly well. And here's an 80 already.
Attacking targets.
But I'm going to attack one and do the defense just because of how easy it is. Now, I'm doing these because I'm only playing for about half an hour each day. But I'm also after the boxes that they're dropping. Unlike the previous tiers where I typically was left behind, I'm doing what I can in advance to more or less allow myself to advance. So I'm producing hulls for ships, the upgrades, that I can't even produce right now. But the combat is fairly straightforward against them. It's just focus fire on a single target, burn that target down, and more or less just keep doing that for the exact same ones, and try not to let both groups engage you at the same time. Come on, get him, and turn around and deal with the ones behind the carrier. And I'm focusing the full fire of the carrier mostly just for its damage per second to be on a single ship, so it burns that one down very quickly. I'm trying to coordinate with the cruisers, that way the target goes down just a little bit faster. I'm also trying to keep them off the carrier because the cruisers have much more shielding than the carrier does. That one. After these ones next. Okay, that's the attack down. Let's do defense next.
En route to base.
And I do 5 of them at a time so I can craft one single Mark II Bastion each time. And I'll show you the repair time that I incur per attack. Every now and then the ships will lose their shield and they'll take a little bit more damage. Every now and then they don't lose their shield and they can survive much, much longer. And for a change, instead of it being the unknown aliens attacking, it's the Altairians. Well, the oligarchs. Gurks. And to be honest, the unknown aliens were much, much stronger than them. And I do mean a lot stronger. As you saw, they didn't even drop the base by 1% in actual combat, but they did in the log. I liked the unknown aliens before. They actually at least forced you to think over where your base was going to be sitting and how you're going to set it up. But now on to this part. This is where it gets fun. As you can all see, the repair time I incurred for that attack was only 2 hours and 28 minutes. I'm typically running under or around 14 hours repair time in total, so I log in, play for about half an hour, and then log out. In that time, though, I make 1,100,000 intel roughly. And I've done this multiple times already since the event started. I'm going to continue until the event ends. Now, what have I gotten in the event? Well, I already started picking up all the blueprint stuff and things like that. I'm on the way to picking up the battleship. I've picked up most of the resource I need. I'm still working on the antimatters because I just don't want to log in and farm. I'd rather spend the time, get the intel, and spend it this way. And I'm still going to have the ship, the new specials, the shields, and things like that. Well, all of them that I deem necessary. Now, what are my thoughts on the event so far? Well, so far the event has been fairly straightforward, and not much has been going on other than it in-game. Refits, as always, are happening, as you can see from the ship factory. The current ideal for the amount of damage you take is... The ideal repair time for attacking any fleet should be low repair time on each ship for a free repair. But that's not the case in most ways that the game goes. And as for how you'd be able to advance, that's another thing I need to start talking about. I need to start talking about how the player base can advance easily. Now, I have multiple ideas on that and how the player base should be able to advance easily. I'll have to ensure that I think them over completely, though, and verify that they are still decent ways to advance. But you're going to be tier jumping, same as what I did. You're going to jump from a certain tier to a certain tier, and then you're going to work up from there. Now, I started off and I fought from tier 3 to tier 6 in the Xeno division. You guys should most likely skip the Xeno division, go for the Axis, and then go for Altairians. Now, how you do that is... you're going to grind your butts off. Well, not quite. You're going to farm with a set of fleets that you produce over the course of a month and a half just to advance. By the time that's done, though, you should already have weaponry and shielding, armor, and stuff like that for the Axis division. Well, the Axis group. And what you're going to do is you're most likely going to use Reverb Ray 3s and Thermal Beam 3s on cruisers and just let them auto-farm the Reaper fleets, the low levels, and you're going to farm as many of the 50s as you can. And as short a time span as you can, then you're going to log off and you're going to repair. That's it. That's how I advanced. I just took as much repair time as I could and then logged out each time. Now, each time that you do this, you're not going to try and buy the ship. To begin with, what you're going to aim for is the small prizes. So, since we don't have any strikes going on currently, I'll use the Deadlock for example. First off, I didn't go right away for a Punisher cruiser when I was getting in the Xeno division. I actually went for the weaponry, the armor, and shielding. Well, not shielding in their case, they didn't have anything. But went for the weaponry, the armor, and stuff like that. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to take one prize each time, so each strike you have something from the newer tech tier. And each time you'll be able to get closer to a higher tier ship, such as, in this case, the Paragon battleship, so you could compare it to the Enforcer battleship. You'd be doing things like that, and once you have enough fleece to be able to farm up the ship blueprint, that's it. That's where you get the blueprint, and then you start producing that ship. You produce X number of that ship, then you use that ship and the weaponry you farmed up to advance to the next tier, which is the Altairian faction. And so far, let's talk about my thoughts on the Deadlock again. So far, the event has been fairly straightforward on the targets you have to hit and what you have to do. And the fact that all of them don't become active at once makes it a little bit easier to handle them bit by bit. And if you had a heavier shield fitting than I do on my ships, you'd be able to do them for under 8% repair time for a fleet like mine around the level. You may be one level above and you'd be able to take lower repair time. But aside from the actual event, the aesthetic for the Paragon, I believe I talked about it. It's just a different model for the same ship that we had with Higher Master in previous tier with a new stat to it. And there is actually a lot of stuff that I'm going to have to talk about in-game, but I'll talk about it tomorrow. I'm trying to do one video a day, and then I'm going to ramp it up to 2 videos a day. And those 2 videos, they won't be both of VEGA, they'll be of different games. I'm trying to get back into the idea that I was doing before of 1 video per day, Monday through Friday. But right now I'm just trying to get 1 video out each day, and then I'll put it up to 2 videos a day. But that's going to be it for this video, everybody. If you found it interesting, entertaining, or anything like that, feel free to leave a like. Comment about anything you may want to say. If you have anything to add to what I may have said, or if you actually have any questions, feel free to leave them below. I'll answer them as soon as possible. If you have any questions about my fittings for my ships or the fitting for my base, feel free to ask. If you have any questions regarding the advancement or anything like that for a video I may not have covered yet in game that I'm going to be working on, but you want to get the details ahead of time so you can start working right away, again, ask in the comments section. But that's going to be it, everybody. And as always, I'll see you later.